So back on the Hunger Games, and we last checked out the franchise as a whole as we ranked every movie in the franchise from worst to best. If you haven't seen that, that's down in the description. However, we are talking about the Hunger Games, the very first movie in the franchise. Is it any good? We're about to tell you guys and to inform you guys that it's either one of the best films of all time, one of the worst, or somewhere in between. Before we get on to that though, hit that like button, that'd be much appreciated. So the Hunger Games for me was an absolute fantastic way to start the franchise. For myself, who had never read any of the books, didn't know a damn fucking thing about the Hunger Games, and then jumping into it was fantastic, and I enjoyed it. And to me, I was one of those for a while when people said, oh, you need to watch the Hunger Games. Well, I can't be arsed, not really my thing, and you haven't seen it, so you don't have any clue. And then when you go and watch it, and then you finally get round to it, and you actually liked it, and you should have listened to your mate all that time, and there's at least one person at home right now watching this video that's done the exact same thing. Comment down below if that's you. I think this movie did a fantastic job at being able to say, what is the Hunger Games? Because for me, walking into this movie, not reading the books, like I said, doesn't have a fucking clue what the Hunger Games is. But then with this movie, this is sort of like you're getting your started movie. This isn't meant to be your best movie in the franchise. This is meant to be sort of like, oh, I'm getting hooked into the franchise, getting closer and closer and closer into what this franchise is all about, which is the Hunger Games itself. And I absolutely adored how they spent an hour of the entire movie. I think it was about an hour, it might have been 45 minutes, but they spent a good chunk of the time explaining what the Hunger Games is, building the Hunger Games up like it's the biggest thing since sliced bread, and being able to present how evil and callous this fucking event is, and how the hierarchy are controlling these districts, and how these districts are being treated badly. They're living off scraps, and then they're being forced to participate random in these Hunger Games, which are horrible events, and it's just for the rich people just to sit and watch it as television, as a reality show. And to me, that was just a great explanation to what the Hunger Games was. And that's why I love the first movie. It's, to me, that's what it brings. And although there is aspects which are better in sequels that come up in the Hunger Games franchise, I do believe that the actual Hunger Games itself is the best in the franchise. The build-up's pretty good, don't get me wrong, but I think the actual Hunger Games itself is the best in the franchise, because it really shows how evil, how callous, how fucked up the Hunger Games really is when you're actually watching people getting stung by these fucking insects, where these people are just pressing buttons like putting a fire there and wiping out half a rainforest sort of thing. And it's just for the entertainment of people watching at home and to dwindle it down to an actual winner. A huge part of the success of the franchise was through Jennifer Lawrence's Katniss. For me, that is the best part of the Hunger Games. Katniss, played by Jennifer Lawrence, she was fantastic all the way out through the franchise, but in this movie she really made that role her own and be able to cement that legacy of the Katniss evergreen character throughout the franchise because of her and how well she played that role. On that, I feel that she was able to give her the factor of being fearless, being a warrior type of character that would do anything, and somebody that would doing it for her family more than anything else. And coming from that working class background of the Katniss sort of character with grit between her teeth, and then going into the Hunger Games as being one of the favourites after seeing her bow and arrow skills and after seeing her skills in surviving, that you could definitely see the hallmarks of her winning it. So that was the predictable side of the movie where you went, okay, so that is a little bit predictable. I've never read the books, bear in mind, but you sort of knew from watching the film that the protagonist was almost too good to be killed, and was almost too good not to be at the finale and the ending where there was something big about to happen. And obviously Peter was very close to Katniss as well. There was a small idea in my head that maybe he was going to get killed off at the end of the movie, but then that suddenly went away once you found out that they were growing closer and closer as the movie was going on, because he turned into a little bit of a dick towards the beginning of the Hunger Games when it looked like he was teaming up with the people that are hunting down Katniss, but then it suddenly changed, and then them two suddenly became a team, and then by the end of the movie we knew how it was going to end. We knew then, actually, they're both going to survive, and I know only one's meant to survive, but there's going to be both of them survive because they're from the same district. They're going to come up with like a love angle, which means that they can't bear to be without each other and they will die together or survive together. And that's what happened. They end up surviving together, and that was a great storyline to go down. And to me, I think that worked, but it was predictable at the same time. Soon as you got through like halfway or 3/4 of the movie in, you sort of knew where things were going, and you knew things were back on the path of, okay, it's leading up to a potential relationship in the second one, but we'll see how that ends up in the second movie. Finally, I think it was great how President Snow was really zoomed in on at the ending of this movie, for basically showing the disgust on his face of those two finishing together rather than them not killing each other or dying together. He would have preferred that ending because of how cruel and callous that guy is, and he wanted to see a result and he didn't. And you can definitely see now that grit and that like tension is going to build up into that second movie and the movies that are going to come, because you definitely see there's definitely a bit of hatred towards Katniss and everything that they stand for. Even when presenting them with the crowns at the end of the movie, you could tell it was a little bit frosty right in that encounter, and you knew that in the next movies that are going to follow, you know that this little relationship, this little frostiness isn't just going to go away overnight. And that is what I love about this, building up to the next movie, wanting you to watch the next movies in the franchise. I love that. Before we get on to the rest of the video, I just want to tell you guys, thank you for the support, because I've absolutely enjoyed making these videos for you guys. If you want to see more of it, all you have to do is press that subscribe button, as it would really help the channel grow, the community grow, and you can join the community by hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, hitting that notification bell, and let's get back to the video. To summarise The Hunger Games, for me, this was a great movie and a great way to start off the franchise, hence why I've rated this movie a 7.8 out of 10 and a world-class film. So let me know your guys' ratings down in the comments down below for this movie. Is it any good? Is it terrible? Is it amazing? Is it the best thing since sliced bread? Let us know down in those comments down below. Also, hit that like button, that'd be much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of the channel, and I want you to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a goddamn fucking thing. And I shall see you guys in the next one. Later.